Now, last time we spoke about synthetics, and my oh my, the feedback has been incredible. You know, it showed me something very important, that when we start telling the truth about the things we use every single day, we realize many of us have been silently worried, silently curious, and silently uncomfortable. So today, I want us to go deeper into another conversation that is just as relatable, just as personal, and honestly, just as shocking. And this one is on human hair. This one's is in Izangu, by the way. I own every piece of what you're seeing on this table. And I don't know if I have a couple of pics that you guys can be able to view as we go on today's conversation, because me, if there's anything I love, it's a human hair wig, because I think the look gives what it's supposed to give. But if we think our conversation on synthetic hair raised questions about chemicals, safety, and long-term health, human hair raises even bigger questions. And these are questions about where it comes from, how it is collected, what it means spiritually, and why Black women across the world have become the biggest consumers of a product they don't produce. They don't even control it, and they don't even fully understand it. And guys, this is not a judgment conversation. That is why I brought my wigs, because I am a participant, okay? This is not also a beauty shaming conversation. No, this is simply us trying to get to the truth. And trust me, the more you look into it, the more you realize human hair is not just hair. It is culture, it is religion, it is poverty, it is business, it is identity and power, all tangled together. So let us talk about it, okay? And as I said, this is not a beauty shaming conversation. I do not want anyone going online saying, Lynn hates women who wear human hair. Lynn hates women who wear braids. Lynn this and that. No, we are just trying to learn and relearn. And we've said, by the way, guys, we don't have to stop. We just have to have enough knowledge of what we are putting into our head. All right? That is okay. Now, let's kickstart today's conversation. Where does human hair really come from? Whose hair is it? What happens before it gets to your head? And what does it mean for us as Black women? Socially, psychologically, economically, and even spiritually. Let's start from the beginning, okay? When you buy a bundle of human hair, it looks very clean, luxurious, well processed, and ready to install. But these bundles here, they have a journey most people have never been told. And once you understand that journey, you begin to look at the beauty industry with a completely different level of awareness. Keyword, awareness. Because human hair did not just start in a factory. It doesn't even start in a beauty supply store. And it definitely does not start with the labels you see. Brazilian, Peruvian, Vietnamese, Slavic. This one is Malaysian. No, those are names for marketing purposes only. They don't describe the geography, the ethnicity, or the origin of this hair. So you get to ask yourself a question. If it's not Brazilian, if it's not Peruvian, if it's not Malaysian, where does this hair actually come from? Now, I want us to be very honest and factual. A huge percentage of the human hair worn by Black women globally starts in India. And this part is very important. Most Indian women who donate this hair are not selling it for money. They are giving it to their god. And the process is called tonjure, a spiritual tradition where women shave their heads as an offering to the deity at Hindu temples like Tirupati. According to financial reports released by Tirumara Tirupati, the hair collected in this single temple system has been auctioned for millions of dollars every year. In 2011, for example, that report publicly confirmed earning over 30 million US dollars from hair auctions. And this is not hidden, it is documented. But Here's the part that is rarely spoken about. The women shaving their heads do it for spiritual reasons, not financial gain. Most of these women actually don't know their hair is being sold. And even if they know, they are not the beneficiaries. The money goes to the temple trust, not to the women. So imagine this. The hair you wear may have been given as a sacred sacrifice, a prayer, a request, a symbol of surrender from someone who believed that moment belonged to their God. And then it's collected in massive amounts, sorted by length, and packed into bales. Those bales are then sold to international buyers, and this is the starting point. Once the hair leaves India, it almost always passes through China, which controls the processing, chemical treatments, steaming, dyeing, packaging, and distribution for up to 80 or 90% of the world's human hair extension sector. Industry estimates are widely acknowledged by beauty market researchers like Statista and Mintel. And this is where the transformation happens. Most human hair, even the most expensive, does not reach the international market in its natural state. Instead, it undergoes acid baths to remove cuticle, bleaching and dyeing, steaming to create textures, the body wave, deep wave, kinky, curly. You can see all these ones are different. You have the kinky ones, the straight, I don't know what this is, wavy, all right? And then they will also do the silicone coating to give it shine. They'll also do the wefting, stitching, or machine processing. And then they will rebrand with names like Brazilian, Peruvian, Malaysian, Mongolian, etc., etc. Not because the hair came from those countries, but because those words sell better to Black women. In China, the industry is extremely efficient. It is also extremely profitable and extremely strategic, and also rarely owned by Africans. This is not an attack, no. We are just stating facts. As demand for human hair increases, you have new regions now entering the market. Myanmar has become a significant supplier, especially since poverty increased during political instability. And then you have Cambodia and Laos, which have rural markets where women cut their hair for money, often for as little as $10 to $20. Vietnam has also seen a rise in small hair collection businesses, though most Vietnamese hair still gets processed in China. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Where poverty exists, exploitation follows. Investigation by Chinese state media, or BBC, and other local Southeast Asian journalists have documented cases of hair being cut from women without full consent by force. Hair being bought from struggling families at extremely low prices, or hair stolen from salons and households, or harvested from vulnerable groups. This is not the entire industry, but this part is also real and documented. And yet, by the time the hair reaches me here in Nairobi, or you in Lagos, Joburg, Rwanda, Zambia, wherever you are watching this from, the story has been cleaned, repackaged, beautified, and sold as luxury. The hair people call Slavic or Russian often comes from Ukraine, Russia, Romania, all right, Bulgaria. And these regions supply the blonde and brown hair, textures that are harder to source in Asia. But again, the story behind it is economic. Most of this hair is collected from women in rural areas who sell it because they need the money. The prices paid locally are low compared to the final market price. A bundle that sells for $400 or $600 internationally may have been bought for $20 to $50 locally. Another economic imbalance. Another beauty product built on someone's survival. Now, let's pause and connect this to the Black experience. Black women are buying a global product sourced from the poverty of Asian and Eastern European women, processed through Chinese factories, marketed using Brazilian and Peruvian names, and sold back to us with a complete makeover story. It doesn't make the women in the supply chain bad, no. No. It doesn't make Black women wrong for purchasing it. But it simply shows how deeply layered and complex this beauty ecosystem is, and how much of it has been hidden behind marketing, convenience and the silence. And this leads us to the next part of today's conversation. What does all this mean for us as Black women? Socially, psychologically, economically, and even spiritually. When you understand where this hair comes from, you can't avoid the spiritual question. And this is not about religion or me trying to instill fear, no. It's about awareness, okay? It's about context. It's about energy, intention, and meaning. The things many African communities have always taken seriously when it comes to our hair. Because in almost every African culture, hair was never just hair. Hair was identity, it was lineage, it was protection, it was connection to our ancestors. It was the part of our body that is closest to the sky, and it carries, the essence. And this is why traditionally, nobody could just touch your hair, because your hair is your crown. And not just anyone could braid it. Not everyone also could cut it. Hair had rules, hair had protocol, hair had meaning, and that meaning did not disappear just because life became modern. No. So please now imagine this contrast. African women whose cultures traditionally protected hair as a sacred extension of their being are now wearing hair cut from women who offered it to their gods, shaved as a ritual or sold out of survival, only for it to go through factories, acid baths, and global trading systems before landing on Black heads. This is not to say the hair carries evil or bad energy. No, that would be irresponsible and dishonest. But the real question is simpler and deeper. Are we even aware of what we are carrying? Do we know the story behind it? Do we know the intention attached to it before it reaches us? When you think about all the hands, all the lives, all the conditions that this hair has passed through, you start to understand why this spiritual question matters. Not because the hair is cast. I'm not saying the hair from India is cast. That's not what I'm saying. But because there's a disconnect here. We are being disconnected from our identity, our lineage, our intention, our story. We are wearing a story that is not ours. And some people are comfortable with that. Other people are not. And I do not want us judging anyone. No, I just want us to create awareness. Because African hair traditions were built on the understanding that hair carries meaning. But today, most of the hair on Black women's head carries anyone's meaning except their own. When we talk about human hair, we can't pretend this is just about beauty. There is a deeper layer, the psychological layer, shaped by hundreds of years of conditioning, discrimination, and survival. A layer that did not start with salons or the influencers or even me, or beauty adverts. No. It started long before that. Because psychologically, Black women did not wake up one day and say, I do not like my hair. No. Look at me. This is my hair. I'm trying to embrace it the best way I know how. But this was also me, right? And for me to be able, you should see how I'm slaying this one. But I also have to admit, every time I've gone for one of these, I know there's always that part where as women say, I can rock both. I can rock my crown and I can rock a wig. I have choices. But I also have to admit that sometimes I've gone for this when I felt I'm not pretty, or this is going to make me look extra hot, This is gonna bring the vibes I'm looking for. You get what I mean? But for me to have gone for all this, something was taught in me. And this thing was also repeated, reinforced, and institutionalized. You know? And the world built systems around it. Let me break it down, for you, so that we are clear. And without blame. Let's address the historical conditioning. The system was never designed for Afro hair. No. From the earliest contact with Europeans, African hair was labeled unruly, unkempt, unprofessional, and very wild. Even some of you in the comment section have told me, Lynn, you look nice, but hey, hair. Someone even offered to take me to the salon. That is how unruly and maybe unattractive I might look to some people with this hair. And guys, when you go back to the colonial times, understand that how they thought about our hair, the unruliness, the ugliness. These were not just casual insults. These people are very strategic because these were tools used to dehumanize African identity. You even have colonial writings describing African hair as strange, confusing, non-beautiful. That hair is very strange, Those people look like monkeys, It's very strange and confusing. Very fizzy, Very hard, like a rock, Hey, guys. Slavery era records show how hair was shaved to erase identity. In the Americas, Afro textures were banned in workplaces and restricted in social spaces. By the time chemical relaxers appeared in the 1900s to the 1950s, the message was already internalized. Straight hair equals acceptance, Straight hair equals safety. This straight hair equals opportunities. So Black women did not just stop trusting their hair. They were trained not to love it. And then you have social pressure. Beauty standards will reward anything but this Afro hair. The global system has always prioritized straight hair, Eurocentric textures, foreign hair. When a Black woman walks into a job interview, a school, a corporate office, a courtroom, or even a social event, the reaction to her natural hair is not neutral. It is measured. It is judged. Sometimes they'll do it silently, sometimes they will do it loudly. And this is why the Crown Act had to be passed in parts of the United States. A law that literally protects Black people from discrimination based on their natural hair. Think about that for a second. Black hair needed legal protection to exist. So the trust issue did not come from insecurity, no. It came from survival. And then you have the safety factor. Extensions offer a temporary escape, And this is an uncomfortable truth, but it's very real. To many Black women, straight or sleek hair is not just beauty, it is also safety. It reduces discrimination, it reduces confrontation, it reduces unwanted comments. And also it reduces the feeling of being othered, We don't want to be classified as unruly or rude, And wearing human hair often gives a Black woman less stress and fewer stares, Fewer microaggressions and also easier mornings. Because I know that's why some people do it. Do your 2 cornrows, do your 2 lines, put on this wig, and you roll for like a whole month. And no one is going to be out there policing your appearance. Some women are learning to cope because that is what the world has told them to do. And then the market comes in, okay? You are sold what the world rewards. The hair industry spends millions telling Black women longer is better, sleeker is better, foreign is better. This texture is more feminine, This look is more desirable. You look sexy, or this style is more professional. And because society already rewards those looks, the marketing only reinforces the psychology. And this is how the dependency forms. You don't buy human hair because your hair is bad. You buy it because the world behaves better when you do. And then there's always that silent guilt, loving a look that isn't yours. As I said, I rock this one and I feel good. And sometimes I'm like, what am I even smiling at? This is not even my hair. My God, you should see the times I've worn it and I've just removed it from the car because I'm like, nah, it's too much. And I know many women will not say this out loud. We love human hair, but you also feel guilty for loving it because there's an internal conflict. I like how I look in it, but why don't I like why don't I like my own hair this much? What does this mean about me? Do I have low self-esteem? Is something wrong with me? Am I rejecting my identity? Do I hate my hair? And this inner conflict is not stupidity. It is the emotional residue of centuries of conditioning. The world did not just sell human hair. It sold what it means to be accepted. All right? And even in schools. Do you remember? Imagine you showing up with such hair in Form 2 or Form 3. My teacher would have kicked the hell out of me. You either relax your hair or you blow dry that hair to the T. Like you blow dry it until it's smooth. The minute it starts being a bit kinky, oh my God, you'll be told you need to go and work on your hair. Those moments in school. And lucky us, we were even allowed to relax or even blow dry. There are people who would never grow their hair in school. Shave, that's the culture in this institution. We can't deal with the afro. We can't deal with the kinkiness. So we are taught all those things. Please tell me why I'll be guilty for wearing a wig right now. See, that's what you told me. You taught me this is better. This is better. Me, I can't remember a point in life where even our teacher reinforced how beautiful our afro was. They live and shave you in school. Like, try them. That trauma what was that for? Like, sometimes I wonder if someone had affirmed my hair. I swear this hair would be, like my afro would be this big. You guys would only see my lips moving because this hair would have covered my whole face. So you deal with all that, and then you also bring in the emotional weight, okay? Identity versus presentation. And this is the deepest part. Most Black women love their identity. We love being African. We love our history. We love our culture. But we are also navigating a world that does not love us in our natural presentation. So the psychological pressure becomes, how do I exist as myself in a world that does not respect how I naturally look? And that is how human hair became more than a beauty accessory. It is now a survival accessory, a negotiation tool, a filter between the world and the Black woman's natural self. And understanding this is important because it leads to the next layer that we are about to address. Human hair is not the problem. The system that told Black women their own hair was a problem is the real problem or the real issue. When you talk about human hair, you cannot ignore. Anyways, when you talk about human hair, guys, you can't ignore the economics behind it. This is not just a beauty product. It is an entire global economic machine. And the most shocking truth is this. Black women are the world's biggest consumers of human hair and the world's smallest beneficiaries of the industry. Let that sit in there. And this imbalance did not happen by accident. No, it was engineered, it was structured and reinforced over decades. Let's unpack this slowly. Market reports from Statista, Mintel, and global industry analysts estimate the global hair extension and wig industry at 6 to 10 billion USD annually. with some forecasts even projecting it to exceed 13 billion USD within a few years. Across these numbers, one consistent truth appears. Black women drive the majority of global demand. Not because Black women are obsessed with beauty. That narrative is very lazy and disrespectful. But because the world created circumstances where extensions became the most convenient, accepted, and accessible form of beauty for them. So, Black demand fuels the industry. Black money keeps the factories running. Black women are the backbone of this market. But what do Black women own? Almost none of it. And here's the uncomfortable map of the human hair economy. India controls the raw temple donations and some hair collection markets, okay? China controls processing, factories, chemical treatments, repackaging, packaging, and wholesale distribution. Southeast Asia, the Myanmars, the Vietnams, and the Laos, supplies additional raw hair, often from poor women, all right? Eastern Europe controls premium blonde hair. Korean businesses, networks, dominate ownership of beauty supply stores in the US. Chinese wholesalers dominate retail and online platforms. African resellers mostly operate at the very bottom of the chain, selling finished products at the final consumer stage. So when you look at the full picture, Black women fund the system, but they do not own the temples, they do not own the factories, they do not own the processing plants, they do not own the chemicals, they do not own the shipping, they do not own the supply shops, and they do not set the prices. They only own the consumer end, the last step in the chain, the least profitable step. Guys, look at that. As I was going through our synthetics comment, someone said, Lynn, I work in a factory that produces the synthetic hair, but there is a level we are not allowed past. So they don't even know what it's made of. Theirs is to come repack it and pack it. You can't be involved in the initial stage. Hey, you get what I mean? So we are the consumers, we are driving the market, but even economic-wise, I don't see a lot of Black women benefiting from this the way they should. I know we have a few, but please notice what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about your favorite wig seller. I know we have big people here who sell wigs, but I'm talking about the production stage, the manufacturing stage. The most profitable stage in this whole scenario, you will find very few women up there. The profit margins are massive and almost none of it returns to Black communities. To understand the scale of this imbalance, you need to follow the profit trail. A bundle of raw hair collected from a rural woman in Myanmar may cost $10 to $20. After processing in China, it may be packaged as Vietnamese or Brazilian. We love the Brazilians, We love Brazilian hair. I was obsessed with Brazilian. If it's not Brazilian, I'm not buying it. And it will come there, $20, sold here to an African wholesaler for $50 to $80, all right? Then you go now to places like Dubois or somewhere. You buy that human hair wig for 8K thereabout, 8 to 15K thereabout. That is 60 to 110 USD. In Western countries, the same bundle will sell for almost 150 to 300 USD. The price increases at each stage, but almost none of that profit stays with Black women or Black-owned businesses. The richest players in the industry rarely look like the consumers funding it. You will not see anyone in India putting on a wig. You will not see anyone in China putting on a wig. No. We are the consumers, but the people who benefit the least. African countries rarely benefit economically, even though African women are the backbone of this demand, you know? There are no major African-owned hair processing factories. Guys, pay key attention. Processing factories, not sellers. No. There are no large-scale African producers of human hair, because human hair is not sourced here in Africa. Most African countries import 90 to 100% of their human hair products. Millions of dollars leave the continent yearly to fund foreign manufacturers and suppliers. Kenya, Nigeria, SA, Ghana, all major markets are net importers. They do not participate in production or manufacturing. They only participate as consumers. And this means African money builds factories in Asia, not Africa. African demand creates jobs in China, not here in Nairobi, or even in Uganda or TZ. African women will pay, but Asian economies grow. And then you'll see Black-owned beauty supply stores facing systematic barriers in the US, Canada, and parts of Europe. Korean ownership dominates the beauty supply industry. And this is not a conspiracy, guys. These are documented facts, okay? And these are things that are openly discussed in business reports. Black entrepreneurs often struggle to enter the market because Korean distributors rarely offer them fair wholesale pricing, okay? Product access is restricted. Margins are low unless you buy in bulk. You know, the wholesale networks are tightly protected. Retail leases are competitive and very expensive. Financing and credit access are also limited. Existing stores have long-standing supplier relationships dating back to the 1970s. This is why Korean-owned beauty supply shops often succeed in Black neighborhoods, while Black-owned shops will struggle to survive. Don't say we lack the effort. No. We lack the access, and it's by design. Black people or Africans can only get to this level. Trade secrets, guys, trade secrets, you know. The economic dependency mirrors the psychological dependency. You will start to see the pattern, all right? Black women are taught not to trust their own hair. Then they are sold a solution they cannot produce. Then they become the largest consumers of a product controlled by foreign economies. Then the profits leave their communities. Then dependency deepens. All right? And this cycle continues. And this is not about blaming Indian women, Chinese factories, or Korean stores. The issue is very big. Black women are building global economies without building their own version of it. And this leads us to something else that is very important. Something else many people avoid, but it is one of the most important truths in this conversation. When you really look at the human hair story, the sourcing, the processing, the economics, you eventually end up confronting the bigger, more uncomfortable truth. The world does not reward Black women for looking like themselves, no. This is not emotional, this is not an exaggeration, this is not me overthinking, this is not a conspiracy theory, it is documented, okay? And majority of us are living this reality. When you strip away the marketing and the packaging, the entire human hair industry exists for one reason. The world created a beauty standard that punishes Afro identity and rewards anything that looks closer to this. Across colonial history, missionary schools, early workplaces, and modern media, there has always been an unspoken rule. Straight hair is normal, Afro hair is different or ugly. Straight hair is tidy, kinky hair is unruly. Straight hair is professional. This hair is distracting. Can you guys see me? Can you see me? Am I distracting you? Or someone will say, straight hair is feminine. Lynn looks like a boy. Man. Some people will even tell you your Afro hair is masculine. You're too strong, too bold, too out there. Please understand, none of this is biological. None of this is factual. All of this is social conditioning and engineering. And this conditioning became the foundation of modern beauty standards. And once the foundation is set, the industry simply builds on top of it. All right? Let's talk about the rewards, because humans respond to rewards, even subconsciously. A black woman with straight or sleek hair receives, as we said, less discrimination, fewer negative comments, less surveillance, more professional acceptance, more corporate respect, more social compliments, more male validation, and more ease in predominantly white or mixed spaces. Meanwhile, a black woman with Afro hair will receive extra scrutiny, unsolicited opinions, pressure to tone down, hair touching, those microaggressions. Please don't touch my hair. Or you even be suspected in schools, and then you're given the suspensions because they think, no, this must be the troublemaker. Or you get that HR warning. Lynn, we need you to be a bit decent. What do you mean decent? Your hair, a few colleagues have a problem with your hair, Or they give you those coded languages like, we need your hair to be a bit neater, polished, presentable. Hey, Or someone will even ask you after you go for an interview, is this your final interview hairstyle? Guys, this is why the Crown Act had to be passed in the US, a law to protect black people from discrimination for wearing their natural hair. And a law is not passed for an imaginary problem. It is passed because the discrimination is real. It is measurable and it is harmful. So naturally, the world rewards women for wearing hair that doesn't challenge the dominant beauty standard. And it will also punish women for wearing hair that reflects their African identity. Right? So human hair becomes a shortcut to acceptance. Now connect that reward system to human hair. Hair is straight, it's silky, it's cute, it's smooth, it's flowy. In a society built on those standards, human hair extensions become an escape for majority of us, a safety net and a negotiation tool. And we spoke about that. It is a way to enter spaces without being policed, okay? A way to go through life without the constant battle over Afro identity. This is why so many black women say things like, I am more confident with my wig, I feel put together, I look more professional, I get treated better. Not because their natural hair is less beautiful, but because the world behaves differently when they wear foreign hair. So the issue is not the black woman here. The issue is the world. Identity slowly becomes negotiated, not chosen. And here is the deep identity question. Do black women choose human hair or do they choose acceptance? Me, I'll say I chose both. I loved that. I don't know. I'm just crazy over a lot of hair. But I also felt like I felt cuter, So today even me, I don't know which one I felt, guys. I don't know which one I'll feel when I say, let me go and try this again. I don't know what I'm looking for. It's very confusing sometimes because the truth is you feel more cuter. That is the time your lips will move from in all different angles. You'll be taking selfies like this. Like you feel like you're on fire, right? And I don't know, guys, what are we choosing? Are we choosing to have less comments at work and just do our job and leave, Because the deeper you think and the deeper you analyze why you are choosing, the more you realize hair choices for black women are not innocent. They are either survival driven, they are socially conditioned, they're economically pressured. They are identity negotiations. And this is why the human hair conversation is not light. I know it is personal to majority of you. It touches on identity, self-worth, belonging, and the daily politics of existing in a system that has never fully accepted African beauty in its natural form. You know? And also the power structure. Who controls the image of Black womanhood? And here's the part that needs to be said, honestly. The global beauty system that shapes how Black women feel about themselves is not owned by Black women. The standards are set elsewhere. The products are made elsewhere. The factories are elsewhere. The marketing psychology is created elsewhere. And the profits, as we said, go elsewhere. The approval will also come from somewhere else. So even when a Black woman feels beautiful in human air, you know, the image she's rewarded for is not the image of her natural identity. That reward system is the real form of power. Because if you control what a woman thinks is beautiful, you control her economic decisions, you control her emotional decisions, and you control her social decisions. You even control her sense of self-worth, you know. And that is why this conversation today matters. Black beauty has been shaped by everyone except Black women. And human hair is one of the cleanest examples of that imbalance. And here is the loop. You wear hair that carries someone else's intention, the spirituality part of it. Because the world convinced you your own hair is not acceptable, the psychological part of it. So you invest in an industry owned by everyone except you, the economic part of it, you know? And this same cycle continues. And why this loop is dangerous, it is because human hair is not bad, no. It is dangerous because it creates dependency, not choice. When you don't trust your own hair, you depend on someone else's version of what you should trust. When you depend on someone else's hair, you depend on someone else's supply chain. When that supply chain is controlled by foreign economies, you depend on an industry that will never prioritize your identity, your health, or your economic empowerment. This is how Black women can be the heart of an industry, but not the owners of it. This is how Black women can spend billions but remain economically excluded. This is how Black women can dominate beauty trends but still struggle with self-esteem. This is how identity becomes a product instead of a power. So what does this mean for us? It means one thing. Black women deserve the full truth. Black women deserve ownership. Black women deserve control over the image the world profits from. Black women deserve to understand the deeper layers, you know, not to stop wearing human hair, but to stop entering the industry blindly. I don't know if some of you, maybe spiritually speaking, I saw someone say they were not doing so well in life until they removed a certain hair. And then blessings started happening. I don't know if that is so far-fetched. I don't know if that's so far-fetched. I've seen a couple of people saying they were having really hard issues. That is why we said here is identity. Because even in the African culture, you realize when things are not going so well, or when you need a clean slate, or when you need to begin again, right? You shave your hair. So I hope today's conversation will head towards self-definition, you know, awareness, and shifting the narrative from dependency to empowerment. When we started this conversation, I said this is not about judgment. This is not about telling anyone what to wear or how to style their hair. It is simply about understanding the truth, the full truth behind something that sits right on top of your head every single day. And after walking through this journey, the sourcing, the spiritual meaning, the psychological conditioning, the economic imbalance, you know, the global power structures, you begin to see that human hair is not just a beauty choice, it is a system. A system with beneficiaries, a system with losers and winners, a system with stories that have never been told, and a system where Black women carry the cost but will not carry the profit. So the point of today's conversation is not to say, stop wearing this, guys, lose this human hair. Please, when we meet each other and I am wearing this one here, please understand me. I'm also in my struggle era. But at least I'm enlightening myself right now I'm a bit skeptical because I'm looking at these wigs and I'm like, which one was a sacrifice? Which one was shaved from a woman that did not want to be shaved? Which one was shaved from trafficked women? Which one? I'm a bit skeptical, but I feel like I should be, because then after I wear it now, it's a choice because I know better. So if I choose to do it, I'm doing that because I'm fully aware. I'm enlightened. I know where this hair is coming from. I know Africa is not a source for human hair. Do you think Africa can even be a source for human hair? Us, we shave our hair and take it where? So we are not even the source. But look at us. We are the bigger consumers. So which means this hair is coming from somewhere. And sometimes when you understand the source of something, the better. Because as we said, hair to us as Africans is deep. This is lineage. This is identity. This hair is a crown. It carries a story. Yeah? So I don't want us to judge anyone, but I want us to be able to ask ourselves some very important questions. Do we know the full story behind what we are buying, what we are carrying, and what we are being conditioned to believe? Because once we have these truths, our choices will become very intentional, not reactive. Once we have this truth, nobody can manipulate you through beauty. And once we have these truths, you can see the difference between preference and programming. You can also start imagining a world where Black women actually own the industry built on their demand. Maybe this is a business opportunity to some of you. Because I would want to purchase my hair now from a Black woman or a Black entrepreneur that understands the source and teaches us about the source. Maybe this is a business opportunity. I see some of you are even looking into how to make braids from organic materials like banana stems, etc., or sisal. These are good business opportunities for someone that is watching and they're into this beauty industry, Because imagine, please, truly imagine, what would this world look like if Black-owned factories produced extensions using safe processes? We will all run and buy. But another thing with us as Africans, we don't like supporting each other. You think because there's a Korean shop there, then their products are legit. Their products are legit, but your African brother who is making them from sisal doesn't know what they are doing. We don't like supporting each other. But imagine the world, how beautiful this world would be if African countries controlled their beauty supply chains. If Black scientists designed healthy alternatives to the current market, or Black investors funded the manufacturing, not just the retail. A world where Black women set the standard of beauty instead of chasing it, And Black hair, natural or styled, was respected without having to fight for space. Guys, this might sound like a dream right now, but no, it's not a dream. It's a possibility. But it starts with us creating awareness. I'm not saying this human hair is the enemy, no. No. Black women are also not the problem. They are not the naive people who can't think for themselves. No, that is not what we are saying. The real issue is the system that profits from insecurity, silence, and lack of information. So, if this episode does anything to you, let it give you a bit of clarity. Let it give you understanding. Let it start a conversation in your house. I was so happy the other day. We were attending my best friend's graduation from a certain initiation. And one of the people, we were sitting with a lady, and she told me, she actually did this to me. She's like, braids, I removed. I'm like, hallelujah, it is working. It is working. And there's a reason I've not gone to the chemical side of this, because once you realize the chemical part of synthetics, and then you realize 90% of this hair passes through China. I need to send you back to the synthetic episode so that you get to understand. If it passed through China and they polished it and they made it shine, so what chemicals were being used? That is now, your homework, because we spoke about that in our previous episode. But imagine how beautiful this would be, having this conversation in your home. Start having this conversation with your daughters, with your friends, have this with your sisters. Not to shame anyone, but to open their eyes. Because the beauty industry has had its say for decades. And today, Black women are finally telling their side of the story. And we are telling it honestly. And we are telling it through creating awareness and saying, enough is enough. Mimi, I don't want you to go around rocking a human hair that was sacrificed to a god. And then you have unending issues. You are constantly arguing with people and you don't know where that is coming from. I want you to rock it because you are aware. Be okay with wearing hair that was sacrificed to gods. Please be okay with that part. If that is a part you can handle, at least say you are aware. All right? You are aware. But don't go around pretending to be ignorant, because I've taught you today. And we've not even gotten to the chemical part of it, because as I said, we discussed that in our previous episode. But now you will have to be more aware. And sometimes, is it really human? Right? Because the world is advancing, and what you think is human here, I might be here displaying these things saying they are human, and someone is looking at me like, Lynn, kwani hujui human? Iyo si human. Iyo hapana. Mi niliuziwa ka human, nilinunua kama human. Mtu asiniambie si human. I'm just saying, now don't go claiming to be ignorant. You already know. You already know. And I think for me, the part where I became really skeptical after learning was the spiritual part. I'm like, hey, I know some people will say, Lynn, I prayed. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. If you believe that, well and good. If you believe there are no attachments to this hair because you prayed, I respect that, okay? Me, I respect anything as long as I'm creating awareness. I don't like involving myself in private decisions. Mine is to just come create awareness. If it works for you, well and good. If you've learned something, well and good. If you still want to contribute to this topic and maybe add something that I might have left out, well and good. So share your thoughts with me on the comment section. I know a lot of you have asked about nails, lipsticks, etc., etc. Yeah, I'm really trying. I'm really trying to make sure that I can do 2 or 3 episodes, maybe before we get to Christmas. But that's just it from me today. I don't know what your take home has been. I just want you to know, if you are rocking Afro here, by all means, I think it's cute. I think it's actually really beautiful. I think it's amazing. I know the looks, guys. I know we hate it. Because our forehead, by the way, has this idea pia. So you have your hair yenye hata iwezi shikika mosodo. So it's like you are fighting with your own hair or trying to style it. But either ways you maneuver. You find a way and you find a style that works for you. But I know it's also not been easy, especially with the comments, the microaggressions, etc., etc. I know it's not been easy. But mine was to come here and maybe let you know where this hair comes from, under what circumstances, and then now we can move on from there. I do appreciate you guys so much. Your support towards independent journalism has been amazing. You've supported us through subscribing, sharing our videos, commenting, which we really appreciate. We are ending the year at 1.45 million subscribers. That was once a dream, so we really do appreciate that. And anyone else that is contributing financially, we appreciate that. Sometimes you might ask, so Lynn, how do you do it? We do it because you guys support us. Of course, the team is big. There's a lot of extensive research that happens, and we really do appreciate you supporting us financially if you are able to, all right? Only if you are able to. So there's an M-Pesa number there. We have our pay bill and also our PayPal account. You can be able to channel your support there or through our super thanks category right there on top of the comment section. But other than that, thank you so much. And I wish you a great investment in your human hair journey. So if you want to rock it, babes, go on and rock it. Feel how you gotta feel. Feel cute, feel beautiful, but understand this is a bonus. Now I can wear it because I already feel mi ni kitu, unajua mi najua mi ni kiru. Now this is a bonus, because sometimes you gotta psych yourself, you know what I'm saying? So this is a bonus. But other than that, I think this is a great opportunity for me to remind you about our partners at Hekalu. We launched our third project together, and we only did so because you guys bought the first project, and the second project totally sold out, and we launched our new project just the other day, and the feedback has been amazing. So if you're looking into owning a piece of land, why don't you give our people at Hekalu a call? Their contact details are on the screen. They have great pieces of land at Kansas City, just 2 kilometers away from the main road. There's also water. As I said, for me, it's very important when I'm working with clients, especially on land, to make sure there's water, there's electricity, the roads have been partitioned nicely, and I really do hope that you can check out that project, right? Yeah, I hope you can see a couple of images on your screen or a video on your screen, and I wish you a beautiful investment journey even as you look towards investing with Hekalu. Call them. Alfred and the team are amazing people. Talk to them. We've not had a title deed issue, and that for me is very important. So talk to our partners at Hekalu, and also let me know what is the next thing you would want us to talk about. For now, I'm out. Thank you to my team that gets to put this work together. It's a lot sometimes, but I hope they also enjoy doing it. All right. So thank you so much. Catch you guys maybe tomorrow. I don't know, but hopefully tomorrow. Okay. All right. Bye.